All right,
Go in and out, or?
does anybody
just
need
turn
a
on the video?
break? We just had one,
Okay.
okay. We're gonna convene the meeting of the Dubuque County Board of Supervisors, Monday, January 27th, 2020. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first up, we do have a proclamation, and I'll read the proclamation into the record, then we'll have our representatives address us at the podium when we're done with the proclamation. So, this is a proclamation, Dubuque Military Chaplains Month. Whereas every year, Chaplains Day is a time to reflect on the service of those chaplains who made the ultimate sacrifice while serving their God and our nation. And whereas February 3rd, 2020 will mark the 77th anniversary of the sinking of the troop ship USAT Dorchester, which carried to their deaths 4 U.S. Army chaplains of 3 faiths who stood united in prayer as the ship went down. These 4 chaplains gave their own life jackets to 4 soldiers and thus sacrificed their own lives to save the lives of others. The heroic deeds of chaplains Lieutenant George L. Fox, Methodist priest, Lieutenant Alexander D. Good, Jewish rabbi, Lieutenant Johnny P. Washington, Roman Catholic priest, and Lieutenant Clark V. Poling, Dutch Reformed minister, and their combined act of supreme devotion and sacrifice for American liberty and human freedom are an inspiring and ever-shining example of real brotherhood for all time to the people of the world. And whereas on December 7th, 1941, Navy Lieutenant Junior Grade Aloysius H. Schmidt was serving on board the battleship USS Oklahoma during the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor when a hit caused the ship to capsize. A number of sailors, including Father Schmidt, were trapped in a compartment with only a small porthole as the means of escape. Father Schmidt helped a number of men through this porthole. When it came his time to leave, he declined and helped more men escape. Father Schmidt died on board the Oklahoma and was the first chaplain of any faith to have died in World War II. Chaplain Schmidt was a 1932 graduate of Loras College, then Columbia College in Dubuque, Iowa. Whereas on May 4th, 1966, Major William Joseph Baragi was the first chaplain to fall in combat in Vietnam. Father Baragi was the brigade chaplain at the time he died in a Chinook helicopter crash. The CH-47A, tail number 63-13138, was from the 147th Assault Support Helicopter Company, Hill Climbers. It crashed 13 miles northwest of Nahan while deploying to a forward base. The crash, starting with a fire from the transmission, had no survivors, with 5 crew and 15 passengers from the 2nd Battalion, 502nd Infantry of the 101st Infantry Division. Chaplain Baragi was a graduate of Loras College, Dubuque, Iowa. Whereas the Dubuque American Legion Post 6 proudly honors all chaplains that made the supreme sacrifice of their lives to the common cause of human freedom and justice for all, so that this ultimate loss shall not have been in vain. Now therefore, The Dubuque County Supervisors, on behalf of the staff and citizens of the County of Dubuque, Iowa, do hereby proclaim February 2020 as Dubuque Military Chaplains Month and ask all citizens to honor those chaplains who died in combat while serving our country. Proclamation adopted this 27th day of January 2020. Dubuque County Board of Supervisors, David J. Baker, J. Wickham, and McDonough.
I will make a motion to approve the proclamation.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the proclamation. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carried 3-0. I recognize, the chair recognizes Mike Martin. Mike, do you have a few words you'd like to say?
Just a few, because I'm a man of few words. But, thank you, Jay and David and Ann. I'm, like David said, I'm Mike Martin. I'm treasurer of the local Post 6 here in Dubuque, Iowa, and a Navy veteran. And my friend Tom Walsh here is the chairman of the Chaplain Sunday that we're going to have on February 16th. And this has been a national program for quite a number of years. And thanks to my friend Tom, we decided to do this program in Dubuque and honor not only the 4 chaplains that passed away in the Dorchester in 1943. Just by the way they were locked in arms, should have brought a picture of that along, Tom. And they gave their life vests and didn't get on the lifeboats, and sacrificed their own lives to save some fellow sailors. And we're going to add in our Dubuque ceremony, Father Schmidt, who was a Loras College graduate, and first chaplain killed at Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. And if you ever get to Hawaii, be sure and go to the Arizona and battleships are. And then Father Bargate is also a graduate of Loras College. So we have 2 local chaplains that were killed in the following wars, so we decided to honor all 6. And by doing that, we're going to have a ceremony at Dubuque Community Church out on the intersection of Keystone and Keyway. We're going to have a candlelight ceremony, and Father Marr from Loras College is going to come out and light the candle for Father Schmidt. And then we have other dignitaries, including myself, that are going to light some of the candles. I'm going to light the candle for the Catholic priest because the 4 original chaplains were a Catholic priest, a rabbi, a Dutch Reformed, and a Methodist. So we're going to have different people light all the candles. It'll be 6 candles. Starts at 1:30 on a Sunday afternoon. And if it would fit in your schedule, we'd sure like to have everybody attend.
Thanks.
So any questions that either Tom or myself can answer about our ceremony coming up?
Mike, my recollection is that Father Schmidt had a connection with the former St. Mary's parish.
Right. He was when he was ordained, he was assigned to graduate from Loras College and went to seminary and spent a couple of years at St. Mary's right out down on Central Avenue. And then when the war broke out, he volunteered as a chaplain. And the war hadn't broke. I said that wrong. It was about 6 months before December 7th that he decided to go in the military and be a chaplain. And then, unbeknownst to him, December 7th, Pearl Harbor was bombed, and he was killed.
The world
And we
was at war.
Pardon?
I said the world was at war before that.
Yeah, it really was. So, and then we have down by the harbor, the Veterans Memorial, we have, just beside that, there's a memorial that the Navy League put in there years ago, attributed just to Chaplain Schmidt. So with all of this Dubuque connection, my good friend Tom Walsh again decided we should do this locally because it's done in this ceremony, and it's got to be a Sunday during February, and it's done nationwide.
Great.
So we're going to have our first one here in Dubuque on February 16th and continue it on from then.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I think from when I was young, our local priest at St. Patrick's in Epworth was Father Edward Lambert. And he was a military chaplain in World War II as well. And so he always let me rephrase that. He occasionally would wear his military uniform as
Yeah.
opposed to his priest garb, and he was very influential in my life.
Well, your father, Tom, told me he really had to keep his eye on you down there.
That we can
And now we
believe.
had a priest there watching you too.
There you go.
So thanks for your proclamation very much.
Thanks,
Can we get a
Mike.
photo?
And Tom. Yeah, let's get a photo. I'll even put my.
Tom and Mike, you want to come up here? We
Computer
usually stand right in
screen
front of the
down.
flags. Come on up.
Present the
Yeah.
proclamation.
Mike, you want your hat?
Want to be the shot taker? Take one of these if you'd like.
Tom, you coming up?
You want to get my hat for him?
Oh, yeah, yeah. You guys,
Absolutely. Yeah, we're both baby veterans. Great.
They're not taking bills for it.
yeah. We'll get you guys in the middle,
Yeah, okay.
next to the
And why
chair.
don't you come in here and I'll get
You're welcome.
Here's the
A
proclamation.
few minutes ago as
Oh,
well.
God.
Real estate stuff.
Or I feel sorry for him.
Why don't
I know.
you two hold the proclamation?
Oh, neat, yeah.
You hold Mike, it's yours. That was your idea.
Well, help him hold it, Tom.
Okay.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Get one more here.
Good.
You bet. Thank you for bringing this.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you for doing it.
I appreciate
Mike,
it.
good seeing you,
to see
my
you.
friend.
I'll see you at the next
Yes.
AOH meeting.
Right. Tell my father hi.
Yeah, tell Mike.
I'll give him, I'll try to give him a call tonight, so I remember.
Good, thanks.
You a silver bullet or a 4th Street bullet, they called those guys, the little gang he had?
Oh, yeah, the 4th Street gang down there,
Al Lee and
yeah,
a couple of those other guys.
and,
What should I do?
well, I'm having a senior moment. I was a member of that though. That was the South End Club.
Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Guys,
And then, Anthony, can you shut that lid so the thing just is off or whatever until we need it?
yeah, Mike, it's seen you in a long time.
Yeah, maybe it won't go away.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. It's better than having that slide up there at least. Sure. Slide
Okay.
was on there forever.
Next up, item number 2 on the agenda. Excuse me, I missed one. We did the proclamations, but we do have public comments. At this time, anyone may address the board on matters which are on the agenda. Please go to the podium, state your name and home address. This is for things that are on the agenda. There will be another opportunity at the end of the meeting for public comments as well. So if there's a specific agenda item you want to talk about ahead of time, now is the time to do it. So do we have anybody? All right, we'll go to approval of the minutes of the meetings from January 13, 14, 15, 17, 21, 22. You can tell we're in budget.
A motion to approve the minutes.
And I will second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried 3-0. All right, item number 3, consent items. And I believe we can take these all at one fell swoop here. But I will read those. 3A, Class B, Native Wine Permit, Quiet Walker Lodge Incorporated. 3B, Class BB Beer Permit, Dubuque Sports Enterprises. 3C, Class LC Liquor License, Dubuque County Fairgrounds. 3D, Dubuque County Treasurer's Semi-Annual Report. And 3E, FY19 Combined Balance Sheet for the 1st Judicial District Department of Correctional Services.
Make a motion to approve the consent items.
And I will second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the consent items A through E. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. There is, under item 4, there are no procurement procedures, so we'll go to item number 5 on the agenda, which is public hearings. And we have a 5A is a proof of publication for public hearing regarding the 5-year road program. And we have Anthony, do you want to make any comments on
Well, maybe
this?
just the publication. I'll
Oh,
first
all right.
make a motion to approve the proof of publications for the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Carried 3-0. All right, public hearing, amendment to the FY 20 Secondary Roads 5-year construction program. So I got out ahead of my skis a little bit there, so, I guess,
Would here would be interested, I'll open the public hearing right now. Save the suspense.
okay,
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, public hearing is open.
Okay, well, the main impetus for this particular amendment would be the Build Grant John Deere project that we needed to amend in the current fiscal year program. So that's listed as the HDP-C031-6B-31 project. In the current fiscal year, we are amending in $1.5 million from the SWAP funding from the DMAS that was approved, and then also amending in the remainder of the project funding in fiscal year 21 for a total of $11,045,000. And also the DOT, something I have to now kind of change how I typically do this. The DOT likes us to, even though we're going to fund a particular project after July 1st, they want us to amend in the current fiscal year if we're going to let it in this current fiscal year. So I've got several projects within this fiscal year 20 that I've kind of backed into this year, even though they're going to be funded after July 1st. So that's to kind of follow DOT policy with that. So that's really the main highlights. So I guess there's one other project that I want to highlight for the supervisor. I have also scheduled, it would be a fiscal year 21 project, but you'll see it listed as Black Hills Lansing Road box culvert extensions and culvert replacements. We're going to split that particular project into two different sort of projects. I want to call it structure replacements or extensions, and then the second project that you'll see coming forward over the next month or two would be the actual HMA paving portion of the project. This particular project would be replacing deteriorated crossroad pipes. There's also a couple of bigger box culverts that are narrow that we're going to look at doing some extensions on. The conditions of the boxes are pretty good. We just need to extend them to be able to get more width across the particular structures. So that's really the main highlights of this.
Okay. Questions for Anthony? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in the public hearing on this topic? See none?
I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, carried. And then we have, notice of public hearing, 5C. This is, amendment to zoning ordinance, number ZC, number 01-01-20, Kenneth Callender Estate and Steve Callender A1 agricultural to A2 agricultural residential. And item number 2, it's case ZC number 01-02020, Gary Valentine and Sam Valentine, A1 agricultural to A2 agricultural residential.
Make a motion to approve the notice of public hearing.
I will second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the notice of public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried 3-0. All right, next up is number 6, approval of plats. I don't believe we have any. So we'll go to item number 7, action items. Resolution, appointment of deputies, assistants, and clerks.
These seem to be all Sunnycrest positions.
It's all 4
pretty-
Sunnycrest
Pretty
positions.
straightforward, but even with Dawn's absence, I feel confident that I will make a motion to approve the resolution of deputies, assistants as clerks.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried 3-0. Next up is 7B. This is the quarterly DARE claim. The amount in this is $3,716.20. What's your
Motion to
pleasure?
approve.
And I will second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried 3-0. Next up is item 7C, and this is the resolution to approve the creation of the statistical boundaries of the Mississippi River ports of eastern Iowa and western Illinois.
I would note that we received a letter of support from Molly Grover from the Dubuque County
Yes.
Chamber of Commerce supporting this. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Okay. Is there a second? I will second it. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'm still, I'm not saying I'm against this, it seemed like this just was on somebody's agenda to make this happen, and I've never been clear on whose agenda. And so I know the city is considering building a new dock and getting the river cruise business in there. I think it's great, and so I don't know if this is tied to it. We had one representative from, I think it was the Corps, that gave a presentation for it. I guess that's just my only question is like, who locally is driving this? Who locally will benefit from it? And whose best interest is it? And I just don't know.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
I'm happy to withdraw my motion and we can get the proper person here to speak to us.
I'd be open to that. I mean, there's nothing that binds us anything difficult in this, but it's just, I had kind of those same questions, I think, at the DMATS meeting maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and they're still unresolved.
I think if we can get to a unanimous agreement on the resolution, and if that can't be done, then that would be I'm not gonna vote for even my own motion if I have someone who's not in on this. Let's get the answers.
I appreciate that
Okay.
consideration.
So motion's withdrawn.
Do you have something to add, Anthony, as part of the discussion?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if the board wishes, I could get a hold of Chandra and see if the retired colonel can come here for a presentation on this.
That would be wonderful. I've heard him.
Okay.
I would be interested locally. So somebody locally must have thought this was a really good deal. Otherwise, usually it doesn't gain legs. And so, was that the city of Dubuque? Was it just the colonel's idea and it just took off? What's the benefit for Dubuque County? That's kind of what I mean.
Other than the presentation that, we heard from the colonel.
He said there was no downside, and I trust him on that, but that doesn't mean we necessarily should make this a thing. I assume there's some funding opportunities. I assume there's some coordination between other entities that would add value, but I don't know what that is. So I'll make a motion to table until we get some further clarity.
Okay. Is there a second?
Are we ready to second that? I withdraw my motion.
Yeah, and I withdrew my second. So,
So I would second the motion to table.
okay, any discussion? All in favor to table signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, carried 3-0. Okay, resolution 7D, approve the amended FY20 Dubuque County Secondary Road Construction Program. The aforementioned.
Everything looking ordinary, Anthony?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried 3-0. 7E, resolution approving the FY 2020 collective bargaining agreement between Teamsters Local 120 representing the Sheriff's Department Administrative Deputy Union and Dubuque County.
Motion to table without the HR administrator present.
I think that's a good idea, and I will second that.
Okay, in discussion, this isn't the current one, this is the one that went to arbitration. She's simply reporting, providing us with a copy of the collective bargaining agreement. So this is a done deal. It went to arbitration. So there's no, it's just a report, and if you look, a copy of the collective bargaining agreement was attached.
Yeah, it expires at the end of this fiscal year. But appreciate that
Yeah.
context.
Okay. So there was a motion to table and a second. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, carried 2-1. All right, we go to item 8 on the agenda, communications. Proof of publication for zoning cases. None, so we'll go to 8B, annual manure management plan update, Steve Hager, Hog Site Home Farm number 69221. And then we have a letter from Veterans Affairs. Do them separate, all right.
I'll make a
So-
motion to receive and file the annual management manure plan by Steve Hager.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Carried 3-0. Next up, 8C, letter from Veterans Affairs Commission regarding recommended wage increase for FY20.
Make a motion to receive and refer to the HR administrator for consideration.
And I will second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded. In discussion, I just want to point out that in 2017, this nearly slipped through, and I just want to make sure that this gets on Dawn's radar. Because if you recall, Supervisor Wickham at the, when we were doing the final blessing of the wages, I pointed out that we didn't act on this, and they plugged it in at the recommendation of the Veterans Affairs, the Veterans Commission's recommendation, which was different than the general increase that we had done, so.
Yep,
All right,
no,
with
that's
that being said,
That's a good catch, and I think this is a better process to have that
Yes,
recommendation come right to the board, and then we
right,
include it with our wage increases discussions.
right. All in favor to refer this to, the motion to refer this to the HR Director, Don Sherman, signify by saying aye.
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 Carried 3-0. Next up is the 9A on the agenda, which is the Build Grant Committee, 5 openings, 6-month term ending July 27 of 2020. And Anthony, do you want to review this?
Sure. So we're recommending five members to be part of this committee. It would be a 6-month term. So the 5 members recommended here would be Bob Shizzle, who is a professional engineer with the city of Dubuque, Supervisor Ann McDonough, which would be one of the representatives, one of 2 representatives for the county, then myself as the other professional engineer, and as a side note, 2 professional engineers are needed to be a part of this committee. Dan McDonald with, I think he's economic development, or what's his official?
Yep, he's with the Greater Dubuque Economic
Greater
Development
Dubuque,
Corporation.
And then Stacy Conforti with the Dubuque County Conservation Board, one of the members of the board, as also coming recommended from the board too.
Good, I think it's a good list that you've compiled, and I'll make a motion to approve those appointments.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the Build Grant Committee appointments, 5 openings. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried 3-0. Next up, 9B is for informational purposes. It's open committee assignments or vacancies, excuse me. Next up, item 10, personnel requisitions. 10A, Deputy Sheriff Jail Division. We have a recommendation here, and I don't know what your pleasure is, if you wanna hold off until Dawn is here.
She signed this, as has the, I mean, she's actually signed it as of January 21st, so I would make a motion to approve.
And I will second that.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to approve the personnel requisition in 10A. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, carried. 10B, the naturalist, this is Dubuque County Conservation. We have the naturalist position, and this was discussed at the recent Dubuque County Conservation Board meeting. We have with us our Dubuque County Conservation Director, Brian Preston. Brian, I don't know if you have any comments on this? I assume you're recommending
Absolutely.
this?
Absolutely. Our naturalist resigned to take another position, and we are in desperate need of filling that position, so I'm asking for you for advertising to fill that position.
Okay, and then I assume that this is at the newly approved recommendation rate?
Yeah, at last Thursday's meeting, Dawn Sherman, the Human Resources Director, looked at the wages, recommended an increase in the range for the naturalist as well as a few of the other positions within the department. The Conservation Board concurred with her recommendation.
The reason that I
thought Dawn would be here tonight, so.
I I think maybe made the motion or seconded the motion to table this last time because I think this has budget implications because this won't just affect one naturalist position. This will go to staffing and wages of how many other naturalists? I mean, how many people? So two. So
budget positions.
So in your presentation, you haven't yet presented your budget to the board. Do you have personnel improvement requests for that other individual as well?
We will have that, the other recommendations in our budget presentation, yes.
To bring that other position in line with this? I guess that's my question is, by doing this, do we also force the hand on this other individual? And that's why we tabled to wait until it went before us as a budget
Yeah, I would,
item.
Well,
I would have to, yeah, you would have to do both, otherwise.
that was the recommendation, right?
Yeah.
To upgrade the existing person and the new hire under the new scale.
Right.
Right.
Where is that in here? Where, did I,
This is a personnel requisition.
correct.
Okay.
And I know that I asked or moved or whatever to table this in the past for purposes of discussing it as part of a budget. Because it was my understanding, I thought Dawn agreed that it impacted more than just this posting. It had another implication to the budget of other personnel issues. So I was surprised to see it back before us. I understand now that I wasn't present, but that the Conservation Board is asking for this as well. But it impacts the current budget and the new budget.
Correct. When we originally started discussing this, we had discussed proposing wage increases for the upcoming budget, FY21. Yeah.
And that is on here, so she has fiscal year 21 total budget impact, which is stated $3,694. So I can't tell you to the penny where that is, but that's a box that was there, and we discussed it. The wages on the personnel requisition do match with 2,080 hours to the low end of 40,000 and the high end of 48,620.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I don't have.
And that is the present wage scale that we have.
That's the recommended new one. So the HR recommendation is those numbers I just discussed, and that matches the personnel requisition, which would be good, because that's what you're trying to accomplish, is a new wage scale for this position, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so those numbers match, and I remember when we went over those, you're not seeing the document in front of you, but the HR recommendation is the numbers I just proposed. The previous numbers were listed on the top. If you look at Dubuque County, the minimum was $37,752, the maximum $47,174.
And I guess all I'm trying to get to is that by making this change, we're changing the scale for everybody who's in this position. It's not just the person you're posting for.
There's two, correct?
Right.
Two.
This one plus one.
One employed plus a future.
Right.
So
I
it'd be
understand,
one person it would be a change for that's currently here, and the new person would just be a beneficiary of this change, but it wouldn't be a change for them because they would be coming into this position new.
For the existing person, would this change happen during fiscal year 20? Would you be making a budget request to amend your budget to include an increased wage for the current employee?
I don't, you can't hire a new naturalist and start them out higher than our existing naturalists. That just would not be fair.
So you'd possibly do a budget amendment for this year we're currently in for the remaining 5 months or so.
That would be forthcoming.
So,
That what we're dealing with here is a personnel requisition, and what I see, based on the discussion from the previous one, is this has been signed and also signed by Brian Preston, signed by Don Sherman, and it says, let's see, recommended and
It was also approved by the
date
board.
needed ASAP.
And it was approved by the conservation
And it
board.
was.
So we had some good conversation there.
Right.
Dawn was there, and the board did engage in conversation related to this position and the wage level. So I feel comfortable with it. It does influence one other person that's an existing person, and if you want those changes to occur, that would have to be a budget amendment, and I would support that as well.
Right,
But
and it's happening.
that would go through another process.
Right.
But I do
I'm
wanna
gonna-
point out, that's not what we're dealing with here.
Correct, agreed.
This is a personnel requisition. So what's your pleasure?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve, and then we can go in more discussion.
There's a motion made to approve, is there a second? I will second it. We're open for discussion. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Carried 2-1. All right. All right, next up is tabled and pending items. I don't see any. Is there anything you wish to bring up under tabled and pending?
None for me.
Okay, public comments. And we have, at this time, anyone may address the board on matters which are concerned to that person, which are not on the agenda. Please proceed to the podium, state your name and address, and make your comments. However, no formal action on these comments may be taken at this time because of the notice requirements. Elaine, would you like to? Do you have any comments?
No,
No? Okay, I thought you wanted to,
no, I just came to observe.
okay, all right.
Maybe she saw.
Well, thanks
the
for being here.
Yeah, sure.
All right, anything else? Otherwise, I think a motion to recess.
Until when? When do we meet again? Tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow, Wednesday.
Is that 10? Is that right?
Yeah, let me look at my,
Yeah, Wednesday at 10.
10 o'clock.
I have it, we're meeting tomorrow from 1 to 5 for the budget.
yeah, I do too.
I do not. Hopefully not, because I got a couple appointments. Now, maybe that was the original.
You have what?
I have 1 to 5 tomorrow as well.
I don't have anything until Wednesday.
Tuesday, no, I don't. Let's see, Wednesday. All right, she must have
Calendar.
changed that.
I'm looking on our official website on the event calendar. There's nothing scheduled for tomorrow, the 28th, but there is on Wednesday, the 10th, and then Friday, 10 a.m., excuse me. Wednesday, 10 a.m.
Motion to recess until Wednesday, August 29th at 10 a.m.
We'll second that.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to recess until Wednesday, the 29th of January at 10 a.m. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. All right, covered a lot of ground today.